Good morning, evening, afternoon. I keep making that mistake. And welcome to episode 78. I also look, before I press record, I look and see which episode it is. And every time I have to look again. It's like looking at your watch to see what the time is. Anyway, it's episode 78. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse. This is Poppy. Poppy. Say hello. I disturbed her, glaring outside. There's a crow going rat rat. I think that's what she's looking at. Anyway, episode 78 has the dubious honour of being the last proper podcast before Christmas this year. Today is November the 30th. Come Saturday, which will be December the 3rd, I'm starting Vlogmas in the same format that I did Vlogtober. So it will be a live on Saturday afternoons, 2 PM GMT. If you can't make it or you forget, do not panic. It gets automatically uploaded and it's there for you to watch whenever you're ready. So that will be the same as the Vlogtober lives. There'll be some chatting. I'll show you how I'm getting on with my Advent knitting. And that really is why I'm moving to lives on a Saturday afternoon, because from now until Christmas I'm pretty much only going to be knitting my Advent projects and desperately trying to finish Christmas gifts. So there's going to be very little to show you by way of an ordinary normal podcast. So this is the last one before Christmas. Tomorrow is the beginning of Advent. Well, it's not actually. Sunday was the beginning of Advent. But tomorrow is the beginning of Advent for those of us who have yarn Advents and are itching to open them. A couple of my friends have done very good Advent project suggestion videos, so I haven't bothered to do one. Alex at my Yarny Corner has done one. She's pretty much covered everything that I would have covered. Amanda at Little Likac has also done one, and she has covered more stuff. I don't think there's much crossover between the two. And I found another one last night by a lady I've not watched before called A Lovely Yarn, and she has done an hour-long Advent project suggestion video where she suggests 50 lovely Advent projects. Crochet, knitting, everything from small size to blankets. And I have, oh, that was weird. Sorry, it just suddenly went dark and light again. I have added a couple of projects to my list. Not that I'm doing this year, but that I might do next year, or there are some that are obviously suitable to do as a scrappy project as well as an Advent, and there is a particular cowl that I would like to do as a scrappy project. But that's not for now. That's for probably around about June when I've finished everything else. So the only thing I'm going to show you with regard to Advent is what I made last year, in case you weren't around then. This is the Advent Envy shawl, and I really enjoyed knitting it. I've also used it pretty much every day since I finished it at the end of January. What I did last year was I opened my Advents through December, and then I began knitting them on the 1st of January. This is knit in quite an interesting, it has an interesting construction is what I'm trying to say. The first section is slip stitches, and then when you finish the first section, which is, let's see if I can show you, that's the first section. So you've got a very narrow triangular shawl because it carries on from that blue point there. So you could stop there and just have that as a small sort of round your neck shawl, which is a plan that I have. You know how I'm always planning to do these things and I never actually get round to it. While I'm on the subject, can I just apologise for the light? It is a really miserable day. It is thick fog. I've got the overhead light on and it still seems to be really dark and dull in here. Anyway, back to what I was supposed to be talking about. After you've done that section, you then pick up along this edge. And then the rest of it is garter stitch, but still marling in your colours as you go. And that gives you that beautiful sort of edge along a section of the shawl. So I highly recommend that. I will link this pattern below. It's Advent Envy and I want to say it's by Amanda Rios, but I might be wrong. So don't take my word for that. That's all I'm going to say about Advents. The other thing I wanted to tell you before I forget, because by the time we're having a whip parade today, I have gathered together a horrifying number of bags, and these are just the ones that don't contain Christmas presents that are still under construction. So by the end of today's video, which I'm going to also make, it's a whip parade, but it's also going to be a frog or finish, because some of these I've forgotten that I started. Oh, and there's more. I'll have to get them in a second. Oh dear. Yeah, by the end of this video, I'm either going to be like in the depths of despair and take to my bed from now until Christmas, or I'm going to be really hyper and overexcited. So I'm going to tell you this before I forget. One of our lovely viewers, her name is Sarah, she has just brought out the first episode of her own podcast. It's called The Black Sheep Knitter. I will link that below as well. I highly recommend her. She is a fantastic knitter. She is very funny. Yeah, there's nothing not to like. And her first episode, much to my jealousy, was so polished. And I don't know if she does public speaking for... What's the word? The word is gone. For a living. Oh my gosh. But she was so polished and wonderful. I'm still trying to attain that level of sophistication and professionalism. And I don't need to tell you I'm not there yet. So yeah, if you've got some time, go and check her out. I highly recommend her. And I'm just going to pause the camera now and get all the other bags that I forgot that are over there. Right, where to start? I forgot I was going to tell you about this. I put this on. I planned to wear it today because I thought if anybody's still looking for a gift knit, this knits up quite quickly. And I knit seven or eight of them. A few years ago for Christmas, every female I knew got one of these for Christmas. But the pattern came from Knit Now magazine, issue 2. I have found one on eBay that I will link below. The design is by Barbara Benson, the Watch Barbara Knit lady. And I've looked on Ravelry, which for those of us that can use it is always the first port of call when you're looking for a pattern, isn't it? And this is called the Winding Paths, and she's got a Winding Paths ear warmer headband on there, but it's a different design. It's much less complicated. So yeah, sorry about that. I had an idea, but it's not going to help you. Right, some of these you will have seen recently. I'm going to try something that I saw a lovely yarn lady had done. I'm going to try and do that, so all the patterns are linked below in a bundle. If I can't manage that, the patterns will not be listed below, and if you want a link to any of them, just say so in the comments and I'll give you a link. But honestly, you cannot see this mountain in front of me. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the time because we could be here all day. yeah, most of these things will have appeared in podcasts previously and the link will have been there. So if you were interested, you've probably got it. So I'm going to save myself the enormous headache of putting a pattern for everything. So this is my slip extravaganza, which of course you can't see still because it's the wool is dark, the light is dark. We've had a bit of a falling out. I'm going to tell you that much and no more. I've got to pull back this last section and redo it. I'm not going to say anything about that, but I am going to offer you some pearls of wisdom. If you are extremely tired and have issues with counting anyway, do not try and knit something that needs to be counted and counted carefully. That's all I'm going to say, and you can draw your own conclusions from that. So we've had a bit of a falling out, and I've got to pull it back to a black section, which means picking up the black stitches. I'm going to try and do that while this is uploading because I need to get it done. Right, I'm just going to grab bags at random, I think. Let's start with this one. What is in here? Oh, look. I know what these are. These are a pair of socks that I was knitting for the October Mal. They're a little Hocus Pocus socks. I've done one. It's a lovely colour. Oh, you can't really see. Little Hocus Pocus socks. Well, obviously these are going to be a finish because I've done one and I have started the other. I've got the rib done. Have I done any? Oh, a tiny bit. Yeah, they're going to be a finish. Little Hocus Pocus socks by... Who are they by? This Handmade Life. Definitely finish. So, pick the next bag that I haven't seen for a while. Oh, yes. In here, do you remember these? Totally cabled mitts. I finished one. Finished this one. Really, I could do with them, couldn't I? And I don't think I've even cast on the second. No, I haven't. That's very sad. These are in Fibre Spates Vivacious 4-ply. They're the Totally Cabled Mitts by Linda Lemon. Definitely a finish. I've very much enjoyed knitting these. Is that the back or the front? I don't know. And then the other side. No, keep pulling. The other side has got this sort of spines down it. They're really nice. I really need to finish them. Definitely a finish. Because I'm halfway there with both those projects, aren't I? Sorry, I've just realised I started talking quietly again, and I am trying to speak up so that you can hear me. Let's have a big bag next. This you have definitely seen very recently. It might even have been last week. So I'm just going to give you a brief flash of this. This is my friend's habitation throw, being made with my yarn from my friends. Yarn that my friends have dyed. I have to explain this every time. I'm sure you know, but I don't know why. I feel the need to explain every time. So that's the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. I'm just going to give you a quick flash of that because you did see it quite recently. That's definitely a finish. Got to finish that. Right, this little bag was part of my birthday present from my friend Jane. The other part of it was some bunting made in the same fabric, and that's up along my wall over there. Oh yes, this was going to be a little, well, it is going to be a litmus cow. There's no was about it. That's a skein of my own hand dyed dark grey, and more birthday themed yarn. This was from Dave. So litmus cow, definitely. Won't dwell too long on that because I haven't cast it on. You all know what a litmus cow looks like. I don't have the pattern to hand. So that's going to be a finish as well. I need to find it a bigger bag. This one is going to be quite shaming, I think. I cast this on, might be April, might be February. I think I finished the back. I have. I finished the back. It's all creased because it's been in the bag so long. So that's the back. How far up the front have I got, I wonder? It's got bits of leaf in it from where I was knitting it in the garden back in the summer. That far up the front. It's got to be a finish really, hasn't it? I know there's the sleeves still to go, but I'm over halfway there, I would have said, or about halfway. That is, so it's all crumply because it's been stuffed in the shelf. It's a Serdar pattern, Serdar jewel spun, which is, I'm actually using the correct yarn for the pattern this time, and it's design number 10140, and I want to say it's golden feldspar. I don't think it says, or is it just golden green? I don't remember. It's shade 845 anyway that I'm knitting it in, and I've had the yarn for ages, and then I cast it on at one of Tonya from Calms the Stitches cast on parties, and then that was as far as it went. I did the back. I think it was hot to knit because it's Aran weight, and it was hot to knit as the weather got warmer, and a bit boring because it's just stocking stitch, and it's in pieces, which means you've got to sew it together, which always is the least favourite thing. I'd rather sew in ends than sew garments together, and that's saying something, isn't it? So that's a finish. I will finish that. Right, there's a bit of an avalanche going on over here, so let's have a look and see. The avalanche happened. What's in this one, Pops? Ah, yes. This one, again, I've finished one. I have cast on the other. This one is My Cup of Tea mitts, and I was knitting it in Licorice All Sorts from my Yarny Corner, and I'd originally planned to use this yarn for a hat, and then I thought, oh no, I'll do these mitts. Do you know what? This is going to be a frog. I finished one, and I have, by the looks of it, cast on the second. Yes. But I don't think that that pattern is doing much to showcase the yarn. If you look at the other side, it's much prettier. So I think this is going to go back to being a hat. So that one's a frog. Put frogs on this side, I think. Okay, next bag. Oh, this one I haven't even started. This Yes, we're a bit late now. These were going to be my November entry into Denise from Dear Designs Year of the Sock. Today is the 30th of November. Even I, everybody keeps telling me I knit quickly, even I can't manage a whole pair of socks before midnight. So they might end up being Christmas shocks. I don't know if you can pick up the sparkle. Or a little bit. Yeah, so that's a sparkly one. That's Fairy Lights Sparkle. I think Fairy Lights also comes in a non-sparkle. And Chocolate Lime. And I thought they went quite nicely together. I was going to do heels and toes and probably cuff in these. This rather. Yeah. I can't really frog it and I can't really finish it because I haven't started it. So I think it might as well go in the frog pile, and maybe we'll get round to that next year, if she does it again next year. Okay, next bag. Another bag I've not seen for a while. Yes, my problem child yarn. I don't know if you remember, I started knitting some socks in this yarn. I'm sorry about the terrible light. And I really didn't like the way it was pooling. You can see how it sort of flashes there. I don't like that. I can live with that because it's on the sole, but I didn't like it. And so I tried this pattern, which is Rhinebeck Ruby. Sorry, darling. There you go. Rhinebeck Roomies. Keep going. You can make it. Well done, clever girl. I've made a bit of an obstacle course for Poppy. I'm going to say Rhinebeck Roomies again. They're not very well. By Crazy Cook. Rhinebeck Roomies by Crazy Sock Lady. How hard was that? And that's broken up the colour in such a way that I actually really like these now. But they've not been knit on for months because this is the bag that I keep in the drawer of the coffee table for if I finish something and then I've got nothing to knit, and I don't want to go upstairs and get something, or I'm going out suddenly and I don't have to run upstairs and look for something. I can just grab this bag. So that's definitely a finish. I really love that pattern and I was enjoying knitting it. I was taking my time and knitting it slowly and just watching the colour of every stitch develop. Definitely a finish. Right, let's look in this one. I know what's in this one. And I feel a bit ashamed of myself that I haven't finished these either. The pattern is called I'm getting there. Beware You Scully Socks. And this was a gift. Where are you? This was a gift from a viewer. So I feel particularly bad that I haven't finished them. But again, I got caught up in Christmas gift knitting. They are colour work. And I have got this far with them. And I do really, really love them. I love the colour of this yarn. This red and orange. And of course I love the black. And I've done that much. So I've turned the heel. I'm just working my way down the foot, which is just straight knitting until I get to the toe. So this is definitely a finish, and it doesn't matter. I know I was knitting them for this part of the October mal. Skulls are not just for, I was going to say skulls are not just for Christmas. Skulls are not just for Halloween. I will wear these all year round. So they're definitely a finish. We're not doing very well on the frogging pile so far. The finishing pile is getting ever larger. while I think of it, because it just caught my attention, there will be a shop update tomorrow and in the Ko-fi shop, and that will probably be the last one before Christmas, because I think I'm going to have too much knitting to do to have dyeing time. I say this though, but I mentioned it before, and I mentioned it last year. I struggle with this time of year, and part of the reason I struggle, I mean, there are personal things that have gone on over the years, but part of the reason is that it's dark and it's dull, and I mean, today is a day that's not going to get properly light. The sky is just all the same shade of grey. It's misty, so it's dulling down all the colours outside. I think I suffer from a lack of colour as much as a lack of light. And this year it's not hit me as badly as it does normally, as it has done in previous years. And I'm sure that's because I've been playing with colour in the dye pots. So there probably won't be another shop update before Christmas, but that's not to say that I won't be dyeing, because if I feel the need to have a play with some bright colours, I'm gonna go for it. Right, next bag. This is the one that fell down. Okay. This has got into a bit of a mess. This is the Owl Cowl by Kay Jones. Yes, now I'm doubting myself. Yes, Kay Jones. I get Kay Jones and Kay Litton mixed up. I should have said Kay Litton rather than Crazy Sock Lady, shouldn't I? It would have been easier. This is an owl cowl that I started for myself, and then abandoned. The reason it's on DPNs is because I borrowed the needle to make an owl cowl for someone for Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to finish this or not. As I say, I have got another cowl pattern that a free one that I've downloaded today, that just needs 5 grams of colour for each stripe. I'm going to frog this, and I'm going to make that one instead, because I've got some pretty colours. This one was just like a little sample that Diane from U-Tree Yarncraft sent me, and it's beautiful. I straight away asked her what was the colourway, because I would have bought a full skein. In fact, I would probably have bought a jumper's quantity, but she didn't know. It was just a thing she'd been playing with. But yeah, I love it. I love all the colours in it. I suppose I could try and do something similar myself, couldn't I? I don't know if you can see. It's so dark. You probably can't see. But yeah, I'm going to frog that, and I'm going to make the other cowl instead, eventually. Right, this is a big old blast from the past. Oh, it's 2 blasts from the past. Look at that. Right, this bag is stuffed in there as well. I'd forgotten all about this one. This you will have seen a long time ago, and I'd actually forgotten about it. I began making a scrap blanket with my sock scraps in Tunisian crochet, and I really struggled with my tension, and I'd been doing magic knots, and I was just frightened they were going to come undone. So I pulled it all down, started it again, and Russian joined all the yarns instead of magic knotting them. It looks quite similar to the jelly roll blanket that Kay Jones has brought out, but I thought of this before I'd seen that, so I was not copying her. However, it looks really neat. The stitches are really neat and much better than they were before, but I haven't touched this for so long. I think if I go back to it, the tension's going to be all messed up like it was before. So I think what I'm going to do is frog this and make a different blanket. I think I might make a 10-stitch blanket, because that would give me the same effect. I'd still have the colour blocks. I don't know. I might do that. I might do a 10-stitch blanket with it, but that is definitely going into the frog pile, which won't be as, oh gosh, as awful. Oh, there's a bit of mojito I've been looking for. I'm sure it is. Oh, well, there wasn't enough of that left to do much at all. Sorry, distracted. Forgot what I was saying completely. Gonna frog it. Might do a 10-stitch blanket. Nope, can't remember. Can't remember. Can't have been important. That's going to go in the frog pile. I remember what it was. It's not going to... I'm sorry. It's not going to be a big hassle to pull it down because it's all Russian joined. So it's just going to make a giant, like a magic knot ball, that I can just knit from without any problem. So that's a frog. The other thing in this bag, which was the only thing I thought was in here, and I know there's one of you that can't look at this without feeling poorly. So this is a triangular malert. Close your eyes. Here comes the triangulum. Now I know you haven't seen this since May, because that was the last time I did anything on it. How pretty. I'd forgotten it. I'd forgotten how pretty it was. So this is definitely a finish. I know you haven't seen it since May because, let me show you. In the front of the diary that I use for my show notes, I suppose, I was crossing off every day that I'd worked a triangle. Because the plan was there were going to be 365 triangles. I was doing it instead of a temperature blanket. So it was going to be a triangle a day for a whole year. Well, I can still do that. It just won't be in the year. And let's face it, people sometimes make temperature blankets and they just record the temperatures and then make it at another time. Or they go back and they make the year they were married or the year their child was born or something. So I'm not heartbroken that I didn't keep up with it because I intend to finish it. I did enjoy doing it. It was becoming a little tedious because a triangle is, I mean, it's not small. It was taking me about 40 minutes and I did get a little bit bored with it, but I also got, I mean, you can see from this pile of stuff that I'm working my way through, I also got a bit overwhelmed with other stuff. So that's definitely a finish. I will be finishing that bit by bit, slowly, nibbling away at it until I've done the whole 365 days. That goes on the finished side. I'm beginning to be able to see the floor. That's a good thing, isn't it? In this bag, I haven't started what's... Or have I? Open it and find out, Mandy. Stop guessing. Yes, I have started what's in here. And I remember what it is now. This was a free pattern from Hoagie Locatelli. I told you about it. There's no picture to show you because to save ink and paper, I just printed the instructions. It's called Knit Free. Yeah. And it's a cowl. And this is going to be a frog. Because I cast it on. And I knit that much of it. And that was it. And I have seen and bought a pattern for a cowl that I prefer. It's called the Cargill cowl. It's by Cray Bear. The pattern is £3 and all the proceeds are going to the Fistula Foundation. And I bought that a week or so ago. And I think I would rather knit that cowl than this one. This is lacy. I'm not in a lacy mood at the moment. So that's going to go in the frogs. Frog. Probably to get cast straight back on as... Well, no, it won't be straight away, will it? Because there's way too much knitting to be done. I must not allow myself to be distracted from my task. We're nearly there. How are we doing? 35 minutes. All right, stop rambling and get on with it. People have got lives. So, this again you haven't seen for a while. This again was part of my October mail, and I got as far as the round and round and round for the body and lost the will to live. Which is a shame, because I really wanted this for November, and now it is the 30th of November, and I suppose I could cast it off and have an extremely cropped crop top, but that's not really suitable for the time of year, is it? So this will get finished. It won't get finished immediately. It might not get finished till the end of next summer, ready for next November. But I do love the colours. I've got a feeling it might be coming out quite large, which was not my intention. I might give that a measure. I might have to measure it and do a bit of shaping. It looks really big. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. Hard to tell when it's on the needle, isn't it? It is one of the charts from the fall collection, or fall favourites, by Megan Regan, Bad Wolf Girl. And this, I think, is Falling Leaves. And I really like it. I really like the colours. So this is a finish, just not immediately. Not done very... I suppose I've got... I don't know. I was going to say I've got 4 frogs, but one of them hadn't actually been cast on, so I'm not sure that counts. Oh, I know what's in this one as well, and I feel bad about this. These are cast on before the October mail started, I think, and then abandoned. There's so little of it that it's hidden in the DPN cozy. How sad is that? Look, that's all there is. And you might be thinking, well, you might as well frog that, but I don't really want to, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's a pair of fingerless mitts, and sorry, it's all the folding. They're called Porcelain Cat, and they're by Rebecca Tsai, T-S-A-I. And so I really want to finish them because they look like my lily cat. I might try and put a picture of my lily cat in, actually. She is a very large round cat, and I'm knitting it in colours that are very similar to her. She's tabby. They're both Drops Alpaca in 0618, which is kind of a light brown, and 0506, which is a dark grey. I may have already put a picture of Lily in. If I haven't, I'll put one in now so you can see her. She's a big girl. So they're a finish, even though there's, I think, possibly 4 rows done. I can't bear to frog them, so they're a finish. Okay, the next one. I started this a couple of weeks ago after I had finished, oh gosh, after I'd finished the blanket for Ukraine. I enjoyed knitting it crocheting it so much that I started this one. This one I'm actually doing with DK weight yarn, but I'm using the loop method to treble it. So if you've not seen this, this is genius for getting through yarn quickly. You can do it with any weight of yarn. I'm doing it with DK and turning it into what is pretty much a chunky, because you end up with 3 strands of yarn, and so you have a loop, and then you just pull the strand through and pull it and pull it and pull it, longer than this obviously, so you've got 3 strands again, and then you just carry on working with that until you get to your loop again and do it again. And it eats yarn that way. It is so, oh, come off, it is so fast that this is DK yarn. I mean, you can see the width of the yarn and how chunky this is coming out. So this is going to be really thick. It's almost going to be like a picnic blanket rather than a lay over you blanket. But it's eating up all my DK scraps, which is the purpose. However, I'm using the plain colours for this. And also in the bag there may be some crinkling. If you've got headphones in, you might want to just take them out. Oh no, I've taken it out of its crinkly bag. Hang on. Also in here is this one. Again, it's another corner to corner. I don't think I told you that about the last one. This is a corner to corner DK, but I'm using all, apart from that, I'm using all my multicoloured DKs. Oh dear, there's the hook hanging where it shouldn't be. I did start putting some plain ones in just to try and get rid of them before I thought of doing that thick blanket after I finished the Aran one. But this is linen drape, so I wouldn't have put that in with the other one anyway. But yeah, so I've got this one that I'm working on as well that might not get much bigger. That might end up as kind of a lap blanket. So as they're both scrappy projects, they're definitely both finished, because there's little point in a scrappy project if you're not going to finish it, is there? Okay, stuff that one back in there. Might need to separate those 2 bags. This one you have seen, again, you saw it last week, but I'll show it to you anyway. Get off. This is my Patreon skein blanket, but I've done some more on it now so you can see. This was the first skein. This is the second one. And I'm knitting it with some drops alpaca. And it is very soft and very squishy and very cosy, and quite a bit wider than it looks because it's all squished up on a straight needle. My brain is not functioning at full function at the moment, and we're up to 43 minutes, and so I'm beginning to get to the limit of my I can still talk. But there's only one more to go. And this one, again, I haven't even cast on yet. I don't think the pattern's in there. I bought this yarn. Sorry, I just realised you can't see me. I bought this yarn to make a Christmas jumper. It's Stylecraft Highland Heathers in Brose, B-R-O-S-E, and Gorse. There's only one ball of this, and it's, oh, what's the word? A mosaic knitting pattern. So it's got a band of colour across, but rather than being colour work, it's mosaic. And I've never done that, and I wanted to give it a try. So, yes, that is in a bag, and it's waiting to be cast on. I had plans for 3 Christmas jumpers. There was this one, There was a DK weight colourwork one and a fingering weight colourwork one. And I have no Christmas jumper now. But there's always next year. I can't even remember what the pattern for that is called. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. So that is everything. There's one more thing that I haven't cast on yet. But it's not in a bag. And I've just seen the mini sat over there. And that is the cowl from the Knit Vent pattern. Yeah, that's everything. I didn't even think to count how many there were. So there's 4 being pulled down, 1 being abandoned because it hasn't even started, and apparently I'm finishing everything else. And I'm about to add 2 Advent projects to that mix as well. And I've still got Christmas knitting to finish. The Advent patterns I'm planning on, I've shown you before. The Advent Wrap by Iris Hardedge, and I do not have a colour photograph of it. Let's see if I can. I'll try and put a photograph in here. And the no, it's gone. It was the blanket pattern from the Knit Vent. You're all yelling at me what it was called. No, it's gone. Whatever it was called, it's gone. It's like the Habitation Throw, but it's round. It's knitting around. Those are my 2 chosen Advent projects for this year. I'll be starting them tomorrow. I'm very, very excited because once I've cleared up all this mess, I'm going to prepare the bags with the needles all ready to go. And I think that's all I have to tell you. So remember, if any of those patterns you want the link for, and I haven't put a bundle link below, which I'm going to try and do, just say in the comments and I will give you the link. And that's everything, I think. So I'll see you on Saturday, possibly, if you're free, for the beginning of Vlogmas. It will be, as I say, exactly like the October vlogs. I'll share with you what I'm knitting. We'll have a chat. You can tell me what you're knitting, and yeah, we'll just hang out and knit for a bit. So that's that, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.